welcome to Healthcare Packaging Expo Live here in Las Vegas. My name is Jim Krzan, and I'm the VP of Brand Development for Healthcare Packaging Magazine. Today we're going to do a deep dive on Level 4 cloud serialization solutions with our guest, Phil Ang, who's the Senior Digital Advisor for Microsoft, Evren Azkaya, who's CEO and founder of Supply Chain Wizard, and last, Pavel Latkov, who is the cloud serialization expert for Adence. Pavel, do you want to tell us a little bit about Adence before we begin?
Sure. Adence is a leading global serialization company, and we serialize product for the top 50 pharmaceutical companies of the world. The company was formed by two people who have each close to 30 years of serialization experience. They were doing serialization and track and trace even before it came into play in pharmaceutical market. So the product is a software company, and we can cover the needs of the companies from level 1 to level 5.
So our very first question, let's start here. Do you think that serialization will solve the counterfeit drug problem?
It will certainly help secure the supply chain. A lot of the people will argue that it will probably not solve it completely. It's a huge business, and the people behind counterfeiting will always look for ways to circumvent whatever systems that we put in place. So probably will not solve it, but if implemented properly, it will give companies opportunity to leverage the systems that they put in place, and also leverage data that they will be able to collect, assuming that they implement the serialization properly. If they do that, they will position themselves for future, where they will be able to reap out some of the benefits and set themselves apart from other companies that may not think about it strategically. And some companies may choose to look at it as a tactical problem that needs to be solved, when in reality it's opportunity to change how they do business going forward.
Very good. So let's discuss the main requirements of a level 4 serialization solution. First and foremost, let's talk about connectivity and what is involved with connecting with your partners. And who'd like to answer this first?
Thank you, Jim. I can answer a little bit about the CMO onboarding, connectivity, level 4 solutions. So many of the companies when they think about track and trace serialization, they think about being compliant and implementing their own system. What they come to realize afterward is that by just putting their system in place doesn't get you to compliance. You need to onboard all your trading partners, both from an upstream CMO supplier perspective and downstream customer wholesaler perspective, including the 3PLs. So in the whole trade partner network, getting them onboarded to your system is one of the major challenges that many companies don't come to realize until it is later in their program. And what we see in the industry is this is underestimated, and some of the solutions out there trying to get it better and faster and cheaper, but in the end it's a massive challenge. So when going for that functionality specifically, we encourage companies to look deeper into the technical solution, how easy it is to onboard and connect, and then build a plan around it. And it's going to be multiple months, multiple years in some cases to get it fully completed. But until the last supplier, last trade partner is connected, you're not fully compliant.
Anyone else have a comment on that?
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Everett. So one quick comment. So connectivity, as you know, has great network effects. And also keep in mind, to the technical challenges of a global opportunity, taking advantage of a cloud-based solution accelerates the connectivity and accelerates the time to value of the solution that these guys are putting together.
So let's talk about capabilities to send reporting in the right format to both the authorities and our customers. And who wants to take this question?
I can just add on to what was already said. Connectivity is one question, but then also being able to provide your data in various formats to your supply chain partners, and also accept data in various formats is key. And that's a key feature of the level 4 system. certainly it has to support a variety of different formats. Every company out there may have a slight different twist on how they want to ingest the data or how they want to send it. So it's important for the level 4 solution to be very flexible and able to support all of those formats, as well as be able to stay on top of all of the regulatory requirements around the world and be able to report the data to the government agencies.
So I want to add on that if you separate the technical data communication into two categories, the first category being the compliance data, and then the second category being everything else. More and more companies will start getting new data fields in their communication. They want to get better in their supply chain planning, supply chain visibility. So having an ability to increase the amount and the nature of data sharing is a clear competitive advantage. So let's not only think about compliance and the few fields that we need to exchange with each other, but what other data points we can exchange to make the entire supply chain visible and more available for better collaboration.
So a big question that's on everyone's mind in this day and age is data storage and security, right? Everybody wants to know where and how their data is going to be stored and how protected your data is from other clients. So can anyone elaborate on this?
I'll take that, I guess. So Microsoft has invested heavily, and there's two themes to this. First of all, there's a global footprint of Microsoft data centers worldwide. The footprint is in every region and every regulatory and compliant area required for each of the customers. So when we say where is the data is where it needs to be. So data sovereignty is handled. Data compliance and data regulatory compliance is covered. We also had made sure that Microsoft Azure, the cloud platform that Adens uses, has more compliance, tick the box work done than any other cloud provider today. Now, when it comes to data security, Microsoft and Adens co-created the product to take full advantage of the state-of-the-art application security best practices that an application such as Adens needs. So when it comes to securing the data in flight, securing the data at rest, securing the data from a user point of view, they took full advantage of the Azure platform. And with the right proper user interface, this application addresses a lot of these concerns up front. So when a customer connects, they can connect with the confidence they're connecting to a secure data platform.
And I just want to highlight what was already said, that truly Prodigy is developed in partnership with Microsoft. It's not only that we using Azure Cloud, but it's truly developed with experts that are available for Adens and that are also on the development team of Adens from Microsoft. They ensure that the application is built according to the standards and that we utilize cloud capabilities properly.
So what are some tips to have in mind when you choose your level 4 cloud serialization solution, especially when it pertains to connectivity and capability and the need to easily integrate with your partners?
I can take this one as well. It's key, just like being able to share data and accept data in various formats, you need to be able to connect with your supply chain partners very efficiently. Especially companies like large wholesalers, they have thousands and thousands of partners, and you just cannot afford to have a system that's not efficient in any way. You have to be, it should be like one-click integration, and that's what we aim at. So it's extremely important to integrate with your upstream, downstream supply chain partners, and also being able to connect with the government agencies as well. But I think it's also important to think about what's beyond integration, because a lot of the companies focus on integration and implementation, but there's much more beyond that. You integrate once, but then you need to operate in that state every day. and you need to be able to deal with all kind of issues that may come up, and the issues will come up. They may be related to connectivity issues. It may be related to company's own infrastructure or company's master data that may not be clean, or the business processes that the companies fail to put in place. So just setting up the connection is not enough. The company really needs to think about building the business process that's robust enough to deal with operations on a daily basis. There will always be issues, and depending on how good your process is and whether you have properly trained people and whether you have good technology that will allow you to deal with those issues, in the end, it will be success or failure. So it's very important to look beyond the happy path when you're thinking about your serialization implementation. You need to think of all of the possible failure points inside the company, outside the company, even sometimes beyond. Like if you take the EU hub, you report it to the EU hub, you think you're done, but your data may fail to distribute to the national system, Germany, for example. Well, who owns that? It's still, the manufacturer will be affected if their product's data is not in the national system, and when the patient is trying to get the drug dispensed to them, you know, the pharmacist cannot verify that it's a legitimate drug. So in the end, the patient doesn't have the drug. They may have to switch to a competitor drug. You short the market, you damage the brand. So it's key to understand those things and plan for them.
So how do you minimize efforts to deploy a solution on the user's side?
So I think with user we mean the companies who need to implement the solution. So one thing that when we advise as independent consultants to our clients to think big picture and plan end to end, right? So when you're buying a compliance solution, it's a system. Many companies think that I buy the system, the vendor will implement the system, and then I'll be compliant. But what about the business processes that are being affected? A system provider, solution provider will not come in to implement and change all your business processes. You have to do that together with the vendor. What about the capabilities on the people side? Who is going to run that system? When things go wrong, there is an exception in the supply chain, who is going to resolve that? It's all collaboration. It needs to be designed, it needs to be planned. So when companies try to minimize artificially, oh, I just buy the solution and it's going to be compliance. No, to really minimize it, you need to plan for it and thinking the processes, the systems, the people and organizational aspect and all the intersection in between. And then it can be minimized by predicting what may go wrong, leveraging previous country examples like before US and Europe, there has been Turkey, there has been China, there has been Argentina. There are many examples of learning opportunities that can be learned, so we avoid the pitfalls, and then we make it better each time.
Very good. So do you have a cloud-native solution or an on-premise solution architecture?
So the answer is yes. Of course, what really is the important matter is, there's equipment on the manufacturing floor. That doesn't magically move into the cloud. But what's really important is the level 4, the level 3 software is available in the cloud. So it is cloud native. It takes full advantage of the platform, the software platform that Microsoft Azure supplies to make it easy to build, faster time to value of that serialization. And also then keep in mind it operates in a hybrid manner. So both the cloud-based and the on-prem work together. And that goes to the data, the security, the compliance, and the regulatory, and the real-time aspects of manufacturing. So you have these levels in the manufacturing. The software is also operating in that same manner. So the answer is yes. Now also keep in mind, with that ability to have cloud-native applications, you can now actually add value to the cloud applications even faster. So for example, going forward, a manufacturer can take advantage of blockchain. Blockchain as a service is available in the Microsoft Cloud. Very, very forward-thinking, and actually it is an opportunity for how one can optimize your business processes with blockchain technology. It's very important. Also, when There are other new technologies coming out, such as the Microsoft HoloLens that we have on display. You can actually try to test, integrate, and put the business value of how to improve your visualization and your analytics across your data set and drive that digital disruption in manufacturing even faster. So the point here is, yes, we cover cloud, cloud native, with the right architects at Microsoft to help you. And then there's also on-prem. There's a long history of supporting on-prem in a hybrid manner with taking full advantage of newer technologies that really accelerate your business.
So how can you address the various ever-changing regulations around the world? How do you keep track of what countries are legislating serialization?
I can take a first cut at this. So it's a very good question, not an easy answer. So imagine you're a company that has limited resources. I think 99.9% of the companies fall into this category. And you need to track what's happening in 40 plus countries. And on an ongoing basis. Every month there's an update on something. Every month there's a new legislation deadline. Something is moving. It's not easy. It's not possible. So how companies address this problem is basically being part of communities. They go to conferences. For example, Supply Chain Wizard organizes, Pharma CMO summits, and it attracts, 100, 150, participants every time, and we give an update on what's going on in the market. There are GS1 resources out there. There are other organizations providing these type of updates to the market, and also the vendor community is very, very much up to speed on what's going on because their systems need to comply with the regulations. But it's a big challenge, I should admit.
Well, finally then, what are some of the features of a dense prodigy?
I want to highlight one that kind of underscores the idea behind the Prodigy product, and it's Prodigy Marketplace. So when Prodigy was designed, it was designed with the idea of business value beyond compliance. So we don't want to just solve the immediate tactical problem of being compliant and connecting with the partners. We want to empower the company to collect data and then enrich that data to be able to make better business decisions. So Marketplace is a feature or is a design strategy for the product where you can easily bring in other data, if it's pricing data, marketing data, cold chain data, any product data that you want to connect to the specific serial number, you can bring it in through the Prodigy Marketplace, either by pushing it from your internal systems, or you can use external systems. You can connect other third-party solutions and start enriching your serialization data so you can start making better business decisions. Because in the end, again, you want it to be not an expense, your serialization solution, but instead be an asset that will position your company for success and where you will really have a competitive advantage compared to other companies that really didn't think it through and only addressed the immediate problem instead of actually taking this as an opportunity to improve and do better business or do business in a better way.
All right. Any final comments from the panelists?
I want to add one thing to what Pavel said, this idea of a marketplace, right? So many of the companies, unfortunately, because of that resource constraint, focus only on compliance, and they think when we arrive to the deadline, we are going to be we are going to be done. But for me, or for the ones who are thinking beyond, that's the beginning of a new world. We call it a serialized supply chain or serialized operations. So what can you do with the serial number? For the first time, you have a serial number, a data carrier is going from the beginning of the supply chain all the way to the pharmacies and to patients. So there's a carrier. What do you want to carry with this carrier? Like, do you want to carry the efficiency data? Do you want to carry the pricing data, supply chain visibility, temperature, humidity, cold chain products? There's unlimited amount of opportunities to enhance this data set and use data analytics, machine learning, AI in the future to harness the value that is in there. Right now, we don't have that system. Track and trace is the infrastructure we are laying, but that's just an infrastructure project. What is most interesting to me, and what it should be for everyone, is what comes beyond that. And this marketplace idea, and Supply Chain Wizard is one of the first third-party vendors out there offering solutions to harness this data. We invite other third-party vendors to develop solutions right now before things are mainstream. So we go there and we start with a lot of value-generating opportunities.
So I wanted to point out, this is a very exciting time for the packaging world. If you think about from a Microsoft digital perspective and these other perspectives here as well, digital transformation of packaging is where you're starting to overlay your digital or data-driven strategy on top of how you package. And so what everyone was alluding to is serialization is just one aspect of that digital transformation, how you monetize that, how you add business value with that. So what's really exciting is that there's many, many things that you could do with this digital transformation. Think about how the serialization data can actually provide feedback up front, again, in the business process to the R&D folks. And then how that can help sales and marketing. And then that helps manufacturing. And then the packaging of that product and the serialization to go with that. It can then go start that virtuous cycle. So this digital transformation is really key. And using serialization and thinking about the digital supply chain is the beginning of many opportunities for companies to differentiate themselves. Thank you.
Well, Pavel, thank you and all our friends at Adens for bringing this great panel today, and enjoy the rest of the Healthcare Packaging Expo show. Thank you.